Everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Hunt. Today I want to talk to you guys about something that is very, very important to me, and I've hinted at this here the last couple episodes that I was working on something, and that is wildlife conservation. And conservation and hunting kind of go hand in hand. Yes, I am a hunter, but I feel I am more than a hunter. Let's start off with what the dictionary definition of conservation is, more specifically to our application. It is the preservation, protection, or restoration of the natural environment and of wildlife. So, my first experience with wildlife conservation was it's been within probably last 10, 15 years. No, probably closer to 20. When I was in high school, we started off with, had a neighbor that raised turkeys. We didn't have a whole lot of turkeys in the area at that time. So he was raising turkeys and he brought them out to our farm and released them. And all while that same time, had a neighbor that had just started up our local chapter of Pheasants Forever, and he was doing really pushing set-asides, shelter belts, and then he would raise and release pheasants. Well, if you know anything about turkey and pheasants, they don't get along. Our area, there's more turkeys now than there are pheasants. That's why I've become a turkey hunter as well, but a turkey will destroy a pheasant clutch if it finds it, and that's too bad. All honestly, I'd rather have more pheasants around here than turkeys, but it is what it is. But there are some areas of our county here, though, in Cass County, eastern Nebraska, that there are more pheasants than there are turkeys. Like I said, they do not coincide, and it all depends on your conservation practices. So I hate to say it, kind of in our area, guys have kind of fallen off on the pheasant habitat and stuff, but that's too bad. But that's the key, though, is to keep. And of course, I'm doing it with deer, but I'd like to get more into it with pheasants. And actually, my uncle and I have discussed it, and he would like to raise some quail and release, because we don't see a whole lot of quail anymore either. So, but you don't have to be what I would consider a hippie per se, but I'm not animal rights activist. I'm not, that's something totally different. I'm trying to keep animals in our area, and it's not just specifically for hunting. If you have a passion for the outdoors, for wildlife like I do, like my family does, it's even just fun to see it. And all we have around here is whitetail deer and turkeys. That's what we hunt. I would like to push that more. And there's so many different ways you can do it. First thing you got to do, though, is you got to have suitable habitat for them. And i.e. that be food plots, or we discussed it, shelter belts and set-asides and stuff like that. We're gonna kind of go down through a list here. If you keep seeing me look down, it's because I do have a list here of notes that I've made. I'm just gonna I just got to keep reminding myself and not get off on too far of a tangent. First thing is, like I said, and this is going to apply to deer. We're going to touch base on it all. Deer, pheasants, turkey don't care. Turkey, they'll live wherever. They don't care. They'll live wherever, and they'll eat whatever. They'll roost. They roost in my timber. They pluck stuff from along the edge of the fields, and there's stuff in the timber, so they'll eat anything. But we're going to be more specific. We're going to talk about deer. We're going to talk about pheasants, quail, dove, all that. So the first thing is The biggest thing is, what are you going to be raising? What animal? What are you trying to keep? What's first things first? So, and then in that, you need to you kind of need to decide on what animal you're going to raise, but what food you think they're going to stick around. If you're talking pheasants, they like shrubby, brushy areas. Any place they can hide. A good food source for them, Milo, grain sorghum, sunflowers, anything like that. Like I said, shrubbery, bushes. Also, so going back to another thing is, the very first thing is where you decide to plant, you need to have the soil tested to figure out what you're going to be able to sustain. Check the pH, check the minerals, micronutrients, because you're going to want to keep that stuff alive too. It's not going to do you no good to spend money to go out there and plant a food plot if it's going to die. If it's going to be something that the ground will not sustain, then you need to decide what the soil will sustain. And there are so many different options. And this is where I feel that where my agronomy, a little bit of my agronomy background comes in. I'm not a certified crop advisor. I'm not looking to give you guys advice on what to plant. I'm just kind of pointing you in the right direction. If all else fails, maybe go talk to an agronomist at a local co-op or some kind of fertilizer dealer, seed dealer. A lot of places that sell seed kind of have their own version of an agronomist. They'll be more specific on what you're trying to buy, what you want to plant, what you're trying to raise. And you can also talk to your state game and parks commissions. They might be able to, to kind of point you in the right direction there as well. So after you decided where you're going to plant it, you get your soil tested, they give you a recommendation on some fertilizer. When is the best time to plant? Again, there are so many different options on seed. Some seeds will, if you're maybe trying to push something for a bird, you're going to want to plant probably in the spring. Deer, you can do in the spring or in the fall. Usually deer stuff, you're talking April through the middle of May. Then they'll start up again, maybe say middle of August, clear through the middle of September, because you're going to, it's before you're going to, basically it goes by frost dates, because you don't want to plant it too early, then it get frosted off, and you don't want to plant it too late and it get frosted off. You want to give that plant enough time to grow and do what it's supposed to do. So, and that all depends on what you're going to plant. Like I said, there's so many different options. It depends on what you're looking to do. Me, I'm not necessarily looking to, deer wise, they have stuff called, like Antler Max or Power Rack or whatever. I'm not necessarily looking to grow a huge rack on a 2-year-old deer. That's not what I'm up to. I want to keep, if you can keep the animal there, let Mother Nature do its own course. It'll rate. You get a 4 or 5-year-old deer, they're gonna have they're just gonna grow a tremendous monster rack anyways. My goal is to keep the animal there. Keep it in your timber. Keep it in your food plot. That's the only way you're gonna raise them. Same thing with pheasants. Raise something that they will eat, something that will give them cover. Keep them away from predators. Don't overhunt it. You will keep the animal there. That is my preach. Like I said, this is my passion. I just want to keep, for future generations, not just myself. I want to be able to take my kids out and hunt someday. And the way things are going right now, or in my area, there is not enough of this that happens. So, back on track here. Like I said, if you're trying to, if you're wanting to go a traditional route with seeds, I farm too. So it doesn't hurt my feelings if the deer or turkey or pheasants, i.e. whatever, they're going to eat usually the first 10 to 15 foot of whatever field you planted anyway. So I don't expect any yield there, but corn and soybeans, that's our two major crops that we raise on our farms. Deer, of course, love soybeans, love corn. And another one is, and especially more for birds, plant Milo. And Milo and corn come from the same family, same traits. You can use, so say like on our farm, if we plant corn and I want to put maybe 4 rows of Milo around the edge of the field for the birds, I can spray the same chemical on Milo that I do my corn, and it's not going to hurt the Milo at all. Now, I can't go out and spray or plant soybeans, 10 foot, 15 foot of soybeans next to corn and try to expect to keep if you want clean, healthy soybeans, something for them to eat, and plus overspray anyways, corn chemical will kill beans. Same way with bean chemical will kill corn. Soybeans are broadleaf. Corn chemicals kill broadleaves. The broadleaf chemicals that you use on soybeans, corn is in the grass family. Soybean chemicals kill corn. It is what it is. So you just got to pick and choose what you're going to plant next to each other. If you're going to plant soybeans and you want something of a broadleaf variety, then of course this is where you go and you talk to your local agronomist, chemical salesman. They will set you up right. I mean, I had a book when I was a co-op dealer. It was that thick, and I could look up whatever I needed. So on that note, so if you want to go traditional, corn, soybeans, Milos, those are 3 very good crops to put out there. Another one, so if you're more new age, which I'm wanting to go a little bit more new age myself, I'm not necessarily I'm just getting into this. I don't know everything. Me, myself, I'll probably talk to other people, get with somebody that sells seed. There's a place out of Lincoln, that a guy I met out of what was it called? Oh, it was a hunting show in Lincoln last winter. I think they're called like M&M Wildlife Products. I'm not 100% sure on that. But this guy, they pretty much specifically raise cover crops, food plot stuff. They also sell minerals specifically for this area. So I'm probably going to stay in touch with these guys and figure out what would be the best thing to plant in my area. But like I said, there's so many different options. If you wanted to go out there, you could plant, clover, turnips, sugar beets. That's a big thing now. What else do I got? Brassica grass. Any kind of legume, which would be like a soybean or a pea. There's many different varieties of peas, oats. And then there's blended products. There are so many different blended products out there if you want more than just one thing. I don't have the right answer for that. Like I said, the biggest thing is going to be trial by error. I planted some no-till stuff this spring. It was just a blend. It didn't work. I'm not upset about it. Like I said, it's just trial by fire. Basically, you don't know until you try it. That's all this is. Plant it, put a cam on it, and keep an eye on it. That's all I can, that's what you got to do. So a big thing is trying to keep, when you want to keep to raise your plot properly. Once you know where you're planting it, and so say if you're going along the edge of corn, the old cornfield, old soybean field, and if it's something that isn't a current crop rotation, so you talk to your farmer and he lets you plant a food plot around the edge of the field and he doesn't care. The biggest thing, another big thing is you need to find out what chemicals he used in the crop rotation the previous year. If you're not doing anything till fall, you'll be okay. But if you're going to do something in spring, you need to find out what chemical he sprayed the previous year. So if you're doing, say you're spraying corn, or you're planting along an edge of a field that was corn the previous year. So most of the time, farmers will use Roundup in post spray, and then there's two other options. There's more than two other options, but the most common ones in this area are mesotrione or topromenazone, which is also mesotrione is what they call Callisto, and then the topromenazone is Armazon. Those both have a 9 to 10 month residual. So Roundup is a contact killer. You could spray Roundup on something and you go in later that afternoon after it dries, and you could no-till something right into it. Those other two, if you try to push the limit there, it'll kill it. Nothing will come up. The 9 to 10 month residual, that's yeah. You need to find out what they sprayed the year before. Same thing with soybeans. The biggest thing most guys spray around here for soybeans is a product called Foam Safin, also known as Flexstar. They put that's got the best residual for killing your mare's tail, your Palmer amaranth, button weeds kill easy. 240 or not 240. Roundup will kill that. So if you're having a problem with lamb's quarters, then you can use a heavier rate of Roundup or a product called Resource. But Foam Safin is probably the worst. That also has a 10-month residual. And the one thing with corn versus soybeans is usually they're done post-spraying by usually the second week of June in corn. So your 10 months usually run up fairly quick, but not so much on soybeans. Soybeans are usually later, maybe the last 2 weeks of June, maybe the first week in July, and you're not supposed to spray Foam Safin after the first week of July for that 10-month residual, because that will kill corn or affect the following year's crop. Another product they use in with soybeans to kill grass, which is I don't think there's a residual with it, but they call it Select or Clethodim. But that will also kill anything grass related. So if you're planting corn, it'll if you get any overspray, that'll kill your corn crop, any kind of corn crop or grass crop along with it. So just be very, very careful. Most people that are probably going to be planting plots is probably going to be like in clearings here and there, in timbers, or maybe goofy little corners of fields that farmers don't want to plant. So you may not have to worry about these chemicals, but I'm just giving you a heads up that this is what the chemicals they use. So if you see any kind of crop damage or your stuff's not coming up, you may have to wait longer and then try to replant it. So, and another thing is say if you let's go this route now. So say you want to you got all that figured out and you want to go no-till. Let's say no-till versus regular till. No-till, what are you going to do? If you got these goofy little spots that you don't want, that you can't get a piece of equipment in there to, and I'm talking, anywhere from these spots are going to be like an acre or less, maybe 2 acres down to tenths of an acre. Just big enough to that you can't get a piece of equipment in there, but maybe you have some throw and grow seed. You got a little bit of overgrowth and stuff like that. You can try to overseed it. Chances are it probably won't come up because of the overgrowth from everything else. You could try to take like a weed eater in there and maybe weed eat it down, but the thing is that it's going to come back and it'll probably come back faster than what your new seed will grow. So what you can do is maybe if you have a hand sprayer or backpack sprayer, you could go out into your spots and you could spray Roundup, probably 32 ounces of Roundup, which you could figure that up, which would only be just a few ounces into like a backpack sprayer, because I don't think backpack sprayers are over maybe 5 gallon. But anyways, go spray it, kill it, give it a maybe 7-10 days. Then you could go back out there, make sure everything's dead, the vegetation's dead, and then you can throw your throw and grow seed out. Make sure you have plenty of light. That was one thing I think that failed me, was my overgrowth down my timber grew faster than what my throw and grow seed was going to come up, and it just didn't pollinate. Plus, I kind of planted a little early. I went with my farmer instinct on planting like oats in the spring. Usually we try to do it when it's a little colder out, first part of April. Didn't work, failed. Didn't hurt my feelings, trial and error. Basically, that's all you can do. So say now you're in an area that is maybe 2 acres plus bigger, and you can get a piece of equipment in there. So we're going to go the conventional till route, and there are so many different options of equipment. There is something for everybody. There's stuff as small as you can, hook up to your 4-wheeler or side-by-side out and take it and disc, or that goes clear up to, of course, you're not going to get this big of a tractor, but, something up to like 600 horsepower, articulated 4-wheel drive. You're not going to need nothing that big unless you're doing, like major restoration work or game preserve work or something like that. But most of this kind of stuff, I'm talking most of, you're probably maybe at the best maybe 5 acres, but you got to have some. If you're going to be doing anything more than that, you're probably going to have some serious hardware. But most people are probably going to either have access to a side-by-side or 4-wheeler ATV, or a maybe a skid loader or a small compact utility tractor. There's something for everything. My guess is probably, if you have an area, maybe say 2 to 5 acres, maybe you have about 10 acres. What I would do is I'd go out there, take your tractor, maybe if you have access to a disc, go out and disc it several times, get you a nice seed bed going. Then either if you have a harrow on the disc, would be great, or if say if it was overgrown, really bad overgrown first, you probably want to go out there and shred it and get rid of some of that residue. Otherwise, you could disc it, or you could spray it and kill it first and then go disc it. But go out there, disc it, maybe a couple times, hit it 2 different directions, and then maybe if you have a little field cultivator, go out there and level it. Sometimes even, I know coming from an ag background, this helps too. We have products out there that it basically looks like you're dragging it's a chain harrow. It looks like you're dragging a chunk of chain link fence back there. You just want to level it out and make it nice. Then you want to probably get some sort of a no-till drill or a conservation drill. Great Plains makes a conservation drill, no-till, either mounted or a pull type. And Brilliant has a very nice seeder, and it has a Cola packer on it. So you'll want to go out there and drill it. Not necessarily with maybe a Brillion. You'd be okay, but most of your drills have some kind of packer wheel on it. But then after that, to get a good firm seed bed after you've planted it, after you drilled it, you'll probably want to go out there with probably a Colepacker or a heavy roller and roll it. If you come from any kind of farming background, that's how we do it when we plant alfalfa or oats, anything like that. After you plant it with a drill, you go out there and you roll it and you pack it down. It's not like a conventional planter where they do have the heavy-duty press wheels on the back to close your furrow, but, anytime you're doing any kind of grass seeding, you want to get it packed down. So go out there and do that. Yeah, you might have a couple different, you might have up to 4 or 5 trips across the field, but do it right. You've got a lot of time invested here. You want to make sure everything, comes up okay. And that's probably your best steps for going a conventional route. After stuff comes up, I wouldn't worry about going out there and spraying it. If you get it planted thick enough, it'll probably choke the weeds out. You'll be okay. Make sure. Another thing is doing a. How do I want to say it? Planting, if you're planting a perennial or an annual, perennial comes up every year. An annual, you have to plant it every year. Depends on how much time you want invested in this. Kind of take this a little serious. Like I said, you got a lot of time invested in it. Some stuff you only have the option of an annual. Some other stuff, you might have like I said, I don't have the answers here for everything. There's so many different options. Like I said, there's an answer, there's an option for everything. It's do what is right for you. Don't do what's right for me. Don't do what's right for your buddy down the road. It's all 100% situational. So it's all up to you. It's all on what you're wanting to raise. It's all on, everybody's different. So just do what's good for you. Pick what's right for you, what you're trying to keep. If you're trying to, I don't know, if you're trying to keep deer and pheasants in the same area, you might have to plant several different things. You can try strip, doing crop strips. It's like I said, do whatever's good for you guys. As far as inside timber work goes, you can, once again, it's 100% situational. Biggest thing is if you're going to go into a timber, what you can do is, if you're going to clear out the bottom layer, just don't clear it and haul it off. Maybe make 3 or 4 piles. Just make a bunch of piles out in the timber. That'll give you some habitat for rabbits, fox, stuff like that. What I like to do and what I need to do down at my timber is, especially after all the wind damage we've had over the last few years, is I need to go in there, and you guys have seen how overgrown my stuff is I'd like to get a skid loader in there and clear out that bottom layer, get rid of some dead trees, and make some shooting lanes down through there. Biggest problem is I literally cannot see, even in the fall, after all the vegetation's died off, all the leaves are gone. I can't actually see from from the north end of my timber down to the south end of my timber. If I could have one good shooting lane down or trail down through the middle of the timber, that'll give a path for deer to follow. Then you won't have so many different deer trails to try to guess from. That it's whatever helps. Deer aren't. They're gonna follow. They're gonna follow the path of least resistance. So if you have, you've seen it on hunting shows, where all the deer are walking down like a minimum maintenance road. So it's stuff like that. If you can go through and make a couple paths, do that. Do what you can. Trim trees. Trim low branches off. Make it so they want to be there. So that way they're not out in the field. That's all I can tell you. So, you just try, it's not just about making your life easier. It's about, making it easy for them, Make it so the animal wants to stay there. So, you can keep your birds, plant sunflowers and Milo and, stuff like that. So you can keep your pheasants and your doves and your quail in the field and do what you can to keep your deer around. So that's all I got for now. Think about it, do what's right for you. If it's time consuming, but it's do it right. Don't half-ass it. You're trying to make it. It could take years to get the area sustainable the way you want it. It's not just going to be an overnight and over summer. At best a year, but it's going to take a while. So think about it. Do it the way you want to do it. Don't worry about your neighbor. Don't worry about your buddy 5 miles down the road. If you're investing your time in keeping your animals around, making the environment right, take your time. So, all right, guys, that's all I got. If you liked the video, please make sure you hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down in the corner. Any comments? Any questions? Any info you want to pass towards me? By all means, I'm open. I'm in this for the long haul too. This is my passion. This is what I do. If I could make a career off of doing this kind of work, I would. That's how serious I am about conservation work, and not just deer, but wild game in general. So, all right, guys, have a good rest of the day. Thanks for watching. Be safe.